Hello, I'm back again because I made a thing. Yes, I make many things. This time I had a go at making an art doll. I know most people in the crafting community will be familiar with what an art doll is. It's a doll that's not meant to be played with, it's for display, and they can come in many different forms at many different skill levels. And I thought I would have a go at creating one. Now, my art doll, she doesn't have a name, but she is a witch. It was going to be a witch or a fairy with me, and to be honest, I didn't fancy making wings. So a witch was definitely the better option for me. And I will quickly go through her various parts and show her off a bit. So yes, this is my witch. I can't get her all in camera this way, so I'll have to gently rotate her to show you. She's about 10 inches long. Her broom isn't fastened in. It's just I think it's some kind of twisted willow sticks I had. I was going to do it with heather, but my heather is under like 8 inches of snow, and that was not happening. So yeah, that's her broom. I didn't want to glue it in because it felt a bit too permanent. She has a wire armature, so she bends at the elbows and she bends at the knees. She does not bend at the hips, so she cannot sit. I've ordered a stand for her because she can't stand on her own, and I didn't really want to hang her. I just thought that seems a bit, I don't know, it just felt wrong to suspend her. So yeah, I've got a stand coming. I'll start at the top here. I made the hat. It is crocheted with a tiny hook, and then I stiffened it with a mixture of PVA and water to make it nice and rigid, otherwise it would have been all curly and floppy. And I decorated it with, this is actually an earring stud that goes to this earring bug, which I've hung off of her belt. I've bought quite a few of these. I love them. I love them as charms. I use them in various things. I think they're beautiful. So I used the stud from the earring in her hat to kind of just tie in the bug at the bottom. So yeah, the hat, I wasn't going to glue it to her head initially, but I eventually caved and did glue it to her head. Because it was just popping off too easily and I didn't want it to get lost or damaged. So that is the hat. So yeah, I mentioned she was made with a wire armature. I've also used sculpty clay to sculpt her face and her hands and her boots. And she's got some leg there, but not a lot. So I didn't sculpt her whole body, so you use aluminum foil for like the bulky bits. Then you put the sculpty over it. It's a process which many people have detailed in various YouTube videos, so I'm not going to go through all of that. I hadn't watched any videos recently. I actually watched videos for this kind of process years ago, and it just all came flooding back to me when I was like, I've got the materials to do this. I should just do it. And I did. And she came together in about 4 days somehow. I genuinely don't know how I got her together so quickly. She just flowed, like she just wanted to be made, and she came to be. So yeah, I've painted the details on her face with acrylic and sealed it with varnish. Her hair is yarn. I made a hair cap actually so I could put her hair on last, but I needed the hair in order to make the hat so that the hat would fit over the hair. So it was kind of like working backwards. And I glued the hair cap in place last when after she was all dressed. She's dressed in layers of bits of lace, bits of muslin, and fabric. The sleeves actually have tiny hems. I don't know if you can see. I've hemmed them and I sewed them This hand has a bit more detail with rings. And she's got nail polish on her beautiful little hands. And like I said, this is just lace. It looks like I crocheted it, but I have to admit I did not. And that's just some bits that I chopped up. And here her skirts are also layers of muslin. And this is all tea stained, so it looks quite weathered and like she's been getting dirty and doing witchy things. So yeah, this is a combination of wrapped and sewn, and there's not a lot to see in the back, but off of her belt, if I can just pull her hair aside, she does have some charm. She's got a little bag of something, I don't know what. She's got a little satchel there, and she's got a pentacle and a little leaf, and she's got this beautiful bee charm that kind of hangs off of her as well. This is the only chain that I have on her. I considered like putting a necklace or something around her neck, but it felt oppressive. I know that probably sounds absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, it wasn't to scale. I'd need quite a fine chain to make it look like an actual necklace and not like a shackle, you know. And I thought it just didn't look right. It didn't feel right. So that's why she doesn't have a necklace. But I thought this black chain was quite fine, and it suited just hanging off of her, not belted or anything. So yeah, that's my witch. And I'll give you a close-up of her boots because they're quite detailed. Those laces were not easy. And also I'm not great at making shoes, but I thought, I'll give it a go. Her legs are disproportionately long, and I did that deliberately because I wanted plenty of skirt. Her hair's quite long, and I intended to cut it, but I thought, you know what, it actually suits. It suits the way it is, and having this nice variegated yarn, I thought it made it look quite natural. I was thinking about combing out the yarn and making it quite soft and stringy, but I quite like it as dreads as well. She's quite a beautiful witchy look. And I think that is all I have to say about my little witch. I'm kind of in two minds about selling her. I probably will eventually, to be honest. I want to see how she does in the stand. Maybe I can get some good pictures. That's like my biggest problem. I can make things that look really, really nice, but then I photograph them and it's like, who's even going to buy this? The photographs don't look as good as the object does in person, and I end up getting so frustrated over photographs that I just never get around to showing things. And yeah, so I found video works much better, and that's why I've been putting a bit more effort into my YouTube. I think video definitely shows things off in a truer light, I suppose, is what I'm going for. But yeah, anyway, this is my witch, my nameless witch. I'd like to think she'll have a name someday. Anyway, my first experience making an art doll. She's quite sturdy. I really enjoyed making her, even though sometimes it was quite tedious because it was my first time and I didn't know what the next step would be. I was just waiting for it to kind of pop into my head, and it did, and it flowed, and she came to be, and I think I'll be making more of these in the future. I think I will, because I really, really genuinely enjoyed this experience, and I'm quite happy with the outcome. And now she doesn't want to focus, so as she's gone a bit camera shy, I will wrap this up and say thank you for having a look, and I'll see you later.